About MVV, Mount Vernon Virtuosi, we call it MVV, and how it came together.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few components to it. I mean, now thinking back, I'm realizing. The first one is where I grew up. I grew up in a kibbutz. A kibbutz in Israel is a social community. So the reason why I'm able to play cello now is because in the kibbutz, everybody gets the opportunity. My parents, my father, who is retired now, was a truck driver. And my mother worked in agriculture in the field. So if I wouldn't live in the kibbutz, it would be impossible for them to support me studying the cello. So the fact that I got an opportunity just because I'm alive and I breathe was life-changing event for me. I didn't realize it as a child because you go to fourth grade, you start an instrument. Great, and then you do sport, you do whatever. And of course my parents had to give up everything for this education, but the abilities, the opportunity was there.
As part of
So
your community?
many, what, sorry?
As part of your community, they just like have these for
Yeah, I
everybody?
mean, so a kibbutz is kind of communism. I mean, everybody are equal. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, a truck driver, and work with the cows. You get the same benefits from the community. So you give your salary to the community, and what you get back, you and your family, is exactly the same. It's a way of life. It doesn't really work, I have to say, but for kids, it's heaven.
Okay.
For kids, it's absolutely heaven because we had equal opportunity. All of us kids, all of us, we were 6 in a grade. Yeah, it's very small. But I got the opportunity to learn music. And through that opportunity, going along the way, I was lucky to meet the right teachers along the way and became a cellist that I am today. But going forward many, many years to being here, it started with my own students, cello students. So when I taught at Peabody, I'm there now 22 years, since 2003. And I had a few students that were older than me. And you know, they always stay young and I get older. But what bothered me a little bit was that I get these wonderful talents here at Peabody, and then I work with them for 4 years, for 6 years, and they get really good. And then the first days they finish, they leave, they just go away. And I wanted to somehow keep them here. So I wanted to create an opportunity for them to play in Baltimore, which maybe is not known as the safest city, we absolutely love it, but I wanted them to be here. And the other component of it was to perform with my students. I always felt that teaching in a classroom, exchanging ideas, making sure they're getting better is one thing, but the real magic is when you become equal to your student and you go on stage. They get paid, they travel with you, they become professional while they're in school. So I created the cello gang. The cello gang is basically 5 of my students usually playing with me. So the 6 of us, and we call it Around the World in 6 Cellos. And we do programs, we did CDs, we did tours, we did educational outreach. So it's a chance for me to be with them on stage and to teach them how to talk to people, how to communicate, how to run an outreach.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So they don't have to wait until they get to the real world. They've done it many times, they got paid for it. Some of them are late or unprepared. I never invite them again. So they learn what it means to be professional with their own teacher.
Okay. And are the kids, are they all your students, or do some of them come from?
Well, that's how it started.
Okay.
The cello gang started as just my students, but then, since I also study conducting and I absolutely love it, in 2018 I thought, you know, what I'm doing with a cellist here and creating this community of cellists that stays here, and cellists that are able to perform and to teach and to go to schools and all that, why not trying to do it with a bigger ensemble, with a string orchestra, so we can also have their friends and people who are studying in Maryland, would want to stay, but maybe that would even attract people to come to this area and because of the orchestra. So in 2018 we established Mount Vernon Virtuosi as an orchestra. And we started with just, I remember, I actually got a fund from a sponsor who told me, you know, you are a wonderful cellist and teacher, but I really want more people to enjoy it. So he gave me actually $10,000.
Unprompted? Or were you looking, oh wow.
No, and he said, I want you to conduct. So, and this is a true story. I got this check and I put it on the refrigerator, and I just didn't have time. I'm so busy playing and teaching, and it was on the refrigerator for a long time until I called him and I said, I'm really sorry, I don't have time. And he said, no, you have to do it. Kept it on the refrigerator until a really good friend of mine came to our house around Christmas time and told me, Amit, are you crazy? Somebody gave you money to create an orchestra for one project. Just do it. It's not your money. So I got the people and I got a crew of video crew, and we worked for one day on two movements, Tchaikovsky Serenade first movement and Zinzanze dances. We worked on it for one day and then we recorded it. And that was it. Finished.
Peabody students.
Mostly Peabody students that I knew, that I worked with as cellist and in chamber music, and they were friends of, and we recorded, we still have this on our website, this early recording. We did it in one day, and now I had two movements as a conductor with an orchestra. So I found a name, we made photos, and we created a website. And then, since I've been playing for so many years in the area, I called a few churches and I said, we would like to play. However, now came the part from the kibbutz. We can play in your hall, in your church, or in your facility, but it has to be for free. We never charge money, and that's my philosophy. Classical music should not be a business model that makes money. It should be something that makes life quality better for people around us. So that's my motto. I go to people and I tell them, you don't have to come to our concerts, but you need to know that in your community now there's an orchestra that lives in a music house and teach in public schools and play free concerts. And when you go to your office as a dentist or whatever it is, you know that this exists. Please help us. So people are open to that because they want this in their community. And I always pay the musicians well. They get paid more than a regular orchestra because I want, this is two sides to it. Musicians should be appreciated for what they do. The audience should never pay for that, or the education. So we teach in schools, we provide the instruments, and we provide the lessons twice a week, all for free. The musicians get paid for it, but the kids don't pay for it. Any kid should be able to play. And what I realized through growing up in a kibbutz and doing music from early age for free, because I was a human being and I deserve it, I realized that music, actually, what music teaches us is to listen, is to become better citizens in democracy. And that's what I'm realizing more and more. The only language in the world, music is a language, like English, like Hebrew, like German. It's the only language that when people speak it together, they must listen to each other or it collapses. If I speak English with you or to you, you can look at me like you're listening. You don't have to listen to me. But if I play with you, Twinkle Twinkle, and we're 4 years old, and we're not listening to each other, it will collapse. It will not be together. So if I teach kids to play music or to speak the language of music, I teach them to become better listeners. Now, especially these days in America, after what happened, and if we don't learn to listen to each other, we're not in democracy. What is democracy? I don't want everybody to agree with me. I want them to be able to listen. So music is the most flexible of all professions. You go to play with an orchestra and you're not Yo-Yo Ma. So the conductor will decide the tempo. And on the spot, you have to play in that tempo, although you practice it in different tempo. You go to a festival, you play a piano trio with two people that you never met. You have one rehearsal. You need to be flexible. How do you learn to become flexible? In listening and adjusting, by making music from a young age. So instead of just people say, oh, classical music is so important because then they can be the next Yo-Yo Ma or Perman, or they learn to practice and have ambitions and they learn to memorize. It's all true. It's all true and it's all good and it develops your imagination. But what it does most is it teaches you to listen. And that's what carries me on now with our music house and with everything we do, is that we actually teach those kids a language that teaches them to listen, I really don't think that any of them will become the next Yo-Yo Ma, to be honest. Maybe, that would be wonderful, but it's not the point at all.
That's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, and it's funny because, you know, the journey I've had has been amazing, you know, playing all over the world, but in recent years I start to feel that I want to bring it in-house, into my city. And my biggest dream, so what we create in Mount Vernon Virtuosi is what I call music ambassadors. So people who live in the music house, they get a chance to live there for a whole year for free. They get stipend of $1,200 a month, and they work for us. They work in a food shelter once a week. They teach in 2 public schools twice a week, and they play 1 community performance a week. So every week they have kind of 3 days of work, and it's not even full days. The rest of it is their own time to practice, to grow, to become better. And when they're done, hopefully they learn what community service is. And they learn that they can have an opportunity, although they're not Yo-Yo Ma, they don't only have to play in Carnegie Hall. And my dream is now to send those musical ambassadors to other cities around the country. So if I have a quartet that graduates from the music house here, they become musical ambassadors of this philosophy. And we send them to Detroit, let's say. And they go to Detroit, they land in the airport, they go out, and they know what to do. They go to City Hall, they create a meeting with people in town. They go to a church, they create a concert series. They start inviting friends, so they make themselves known. They get a budget. They find the absolute worst area of town that needs most help. They go to the town and say, can I have one of these deserted houses for $1 a year or something? They live there. They show the communities that they're not there to kick them out, they're there to live with them. They ask where the food pantry is. They start working in the food pantry. They become friends of the community. What's amazing here is that in the food pantry, every Saturday, when we work there, you see gangs, people from gangs come. When they meet you normally in the streets, they might kill you. When they come to the food pantry, they put their eyes down, they want their food, they will never hurt you. When they see that you're there not because you got a grant to play a concert and you go back to your life, you're there not to kick them, you're there to live with them. They change their mindset. I mean, maybe I'm innocent, but I really think that we are safe, and obviously the house is not in the best area of town, but the 4 musicians are there, and I hope that they will actually take it. So it will take us, of course, many years to establish it, but I would like it to be like mushrooms after the rain, that these MVV music houses will be sold to other cities, so they will see what we've done here and the result that it has brought, and they will want that, and they will take those ambassadors and pay them a salary to do it. And that's the beauty of it. There's one more story I have to share with you. It's just to show you how it works. Our quartet that lives in the house teach in one school, and in that school there's twin girls, and they're African American, and one of them was born without the left arm. She doesn't have a left arm. And they're, I think, 12 years old, and she has never done any sport or anything. She doesn't even have the prosthesis, you know, how do you say it?
I don't know, prosthetic?
Prosthetic, yeah. She doesn't want to put it. So our quartet started teaching her, and they asked the kids, what do you want to play? And her sister said violin, and she said, I want to play violin too. So first she wanted to do something. That's already huge. So our cellist from the quartet, who is a former student of mine, decided to take it as a project and built a prosthetic for her from wood, carton, whatever, something that she could. Now, they had to flip the strings opposite because she has to hold the bow with the left prosthetic, not hand, and play here. Yeah, because it's not the normal way. She started playing violin, And I mean, I'm talking about Twinkle Twinkle, yeah? But she's now playing every week with her sister. She loves it. And she has succeeded in doing something in her life for the first time. Then we are here in Baltimore. The most famous thing we have here is Hopkins, the hospital. The doctors in Hopkins have heard about this story because she goes to her doctor for the hand and the mother told. So these doctors now built a professional prosthesis for her so she can hold the bow and play the violin. I mean, now she wants to do it. She's playing. She's learning to listen, but she has this component of I can do something in my life. And for the teachers, I mean, I'm talking about they're in the mid-20s. They're not experienced teachers. But for that cellist to be creative enough to create a prosthesis for her, to teach her, to flip the strings, that kind of thinking out of the box and creativity is exactly the musical ambassadors I'm talking about. And that's for me to see it. I was not there. For me to see it, that's it. That's what I want to do.
That's cool. Yeah. So this is the members of the fellowship string quartet, right?
Yeah. And they are the leaders of the chamber orchestra.
Okay.
So the big dream is to have all 16 musicians living in a big house. We don't have the budget yet for that.
Okay.
So we have a house now that has 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, and a big music area. We call it the music space.
Okay.
And that's where we have the piano, and that's where we do the concerts and the rehearsals and all of that. But they live there, the quartet lives there, it's only 4 people. Eventually, we want to have all 16 of them living in one house, which will be really like a kibbutz.
Yeah.
But we're far from that moment, but I'm a dreamer.
Cool. Awesome. And so these 4 people have graduated already, so just
Yes.
they're doing that full time. Okay.
Yeah, they're not students anymore. I mean, we are targeting this gap between college and getting your first real job, because that's, I think, a very dangerous time for musicians, where you get to a very high level when you finish conservatory, you practice, you have auditions, you have stuff you need to do, and then boom, there's nothing. And that nothingness creates a big black hole where people deteriorate in their playing. They start gigging around, playing in weddings, funerals. I mean, they have to make ends meet, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And no complaints. But when they have to go and audition for New York Philharmonic, they need to be in the best shape they are in. So the residency, the fellowship, allows them to have the time to practice, the comfort of not having to pay for the rent, so they can really get better in their craft while learning about community service, and then hopefully getting, a job. So it's those years between college to your job. That's the target we are in.
That's great. I'm interested in how you find out where to perform, like the communities you reach out to. Do they reach out to you, or do you reach out to them? Like, how do you decide where to play?
Yeah, so again, there are 2 things. First is the orchestra.
Okay.
So for the orchestra, we have 3 homes, 2 in Baltimore, 1 public library. So I wanted venues that are not the obvious concert halls. The Pratt Library, we give a concert on Friday at noon, and it's free. And of course, you get there people that you won't get in a concert hall. You get policemen, you get homeless, you get anything you can imagine, kids shouting. So they come to the library with their class, whatever. We get all of it, and it's wonderful. And it's a beautiful space, and we rehearse there also the day before. So that's our home base, the Pratt Library. The day after, we play in Church Emmanuel in Mount Vernon. So we're called Mount Vernon Virtuosi. We wanted a place in Baltimore that will be free again. So it needs to be not just a church that has the space, but a church that will allow us to play and not to charge for tickets, and to give us the publicity and the stage. And Church Emmanuel has done that, and it's amazing, because they have many concerts there that are ticketed, but we're as a resident ensemble. And I did it by approaching them, just say, this is what we do, this is our recordings, this is our philosophy. If you want to work with us, it will have to be on your publicity, everything that you do online, but we play for free. We cannot charge money. And then we do the same thing in St. Anne, another big church in DC. We did play in a Jewish community center until this year and also did kids concerts there. But again, these are all personal connections that I've had as a performer. But the quartet, they play every week. That's a lot. So last year they played, there were, how many weeks are in a year? 52, I think.
Okay.
But they played, I think, because they have vacations also, but they played about 40 concerts, community concerts. Community concert is train station, it's veteran place, it's after school facility for kids, prison, hospital, and cancer recovery facility, all those places. Now, we have our executive director and I, we try to engage with those places. We will call them. Sometimes it will take months for them to reply. They just don't, they're not used to it. They have to take care of other important things. You go there, you knock on the door. Now we started a new component for the quartet where they have to also go out and each one gets one place of need for the quartet, and it's very hard for them. They told us, oh, we contacted this place for already 18 times, they never replied to emails, and I told them, welcome to the club. That's what we do every single day. Go there, knock on the door, offer to do it again and again and again. When we started to teach at Keep Harmony School, it's a wonderful school here in town, entirely African American. It took me literally 2 years to contact the head of the school again and again and again. She just didn't believe that I'm serious in what I'm asking for, which is kids to teach.
Now she's so excited about it.
Now she's really, but it took that, the level of trust also with those communities. They're used to wealthier people getting grants, coming in for one concert and leaving. They're not used to somebody that say, no, I'm not trying to kick you out or change you. I'm trying to give you the opportunity.
Is this the only elementary school you teach at?
No, we have two schools. Now the problem is that we only have the quartet in resident that teaches regularly. So we only have 4 people. And before the quartet started living in the house, we had musicians from the orchestra hired by us to teach regularly every week. But the dream was really to have the quartet doing it. And this is the first year that the quartet is going between the 2 schools. Again, if we'll have all 16 living in the music house, we will teach in more schools. And also, we're not yet in the level where the kids are actually playing well, because we want to create the culture that they're even playing, that this class exists. In a few years, I would want to go into it myself more, into the teaching part, making sure that those kids are actually getting better on the instruments.
At the Harmony, the
Keep Harmony and the Green School, the 2 schools that we teach. Yeah, and I just don't have time for all of my ideas, but I'm trying to create a system that is similar to Suzuki, but is based on gospels. Because these kids, one thing they have to do, even if they don't want to, is go to church every Sunday. And in Baltimore in particular, we have a long tradition of gospel singing that start from slavery. And it's amazing songs, and these kids know all those songs the same as we know Vivaldi 4 Seasons.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we force them to play, this Twinkle Twinkle, where if we would again listen to their gospels, so I call it Gospozuki. And again, if I would have the time to, but what we want is like Bartok did. Bartok went to villages in Hungary and had a tape recorder and recorded the folk tunes and then wrote them down and wrote his music. So I would like to go with a tape, now it can use iPhone, and to go to all those grandmothers, old ones that know all this because of their grandmother and grandmother, and to record those gospels that they sing. They don't know the notes, and to record it and then to arrange them for simple melodies on the string instruments. So these kids will have melodies to relate to, and they can sing it and then learn it on the instrument. So I'm hoping that once we start establishing this culture of teaching in the schools, and to also change the system of what we teach, to gospel zuki, to gospels that are based on the Suzuki system, but with melodies of them that they grew up with.
That's awesome. Do you change what you play based on where you teach? Like the type of music. Like if you're going to one place, or if like you're going to a like a prison, do you change what you play based on if you play at the library?
Yeah, so the quartet and the cello gang, we do those community concerts, and we have different variety of programs. We have like a very light program, so what we do, we always present, because we're very international, so we present where we come from in that country, and we present the instruments. But if it's kids, their concentration span is completely different. And so we will always play like, any rock and roll or pieces that they would know, arrangement of Beatles and stuff like this, with a serious piece. So if it's a 45-minute, it will be tailored completely to where we play, definitely.
And do you make these arrangements yourself? Like arrange
Well,
pieces?
they exist in so many, a variety, but for the cello gang, we commission arrangements. We actually get pieces that we want to play and we think will be good for our around the world in 6 cellos. And every year we commission at least one piece that hasn't been done with 6 cellos. And we have recorded the Bach 6 suites with 4 cellos, it's on CD. We recorded the Gulda concerto for cello and a big band.
Wow.
We recorded it with 6 cellos, it's on YouTube. So those are, and then the Kaddish by Kopitman is an Israeli composer. It's a beautiful piece for cello and piano that I really wanted cellists to know. So I thought if we arrange it for 6 cellos, at least 6 cellists will know the piece by playing it. And it's a beautiful arrangement, and I hope that it will actually serve the cellists in the world too. So that's another thing that we try to do with these arrangements, just to bring those pieces to the public more.
Do you have any go-to sites for finding arrangements of things that are good for like starting?
To be honest with you, I just Google it. I just write, the piece that I'm looking for, Yellow Submarine for cello quintet,
Okay.
and usually it guides you to where to find it, or these days with YouTube and all this, you see videos of pieces you like, you're like, oh wow, this is really cool. You listen to it. We arranged a movement of Drum Symphony for the cello gang for 8 cellos and piano, which is a beautiful arrangement. And we also arranged the Amanda Gorman presidential speech. Do you remember when Biden was chosen? She recited a speech, her speech in the inauguration day. Amanda Gorman, she's an African-American poet, and it became like historic.
It was like a speech?
Speech. So we commissioned a composer to write a piece based on this speech, and she is giving the speech with, it's on YouTube, I can send it to you.
Okay.
It's a great piece, and she's on it. We put her digitally on it, and she's reciting the speech through the movements of the piece. And everybody was so worried because we don't have the rights to put her and all that. We posted it on Twitter, and she herself retweeted it. So I felt really honored.
That's special.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I'm very proud of that piece because it's a beautiful speech that she gave, beautiful poem. And with the music, and with the cello, it's just amazing.
I'll go look it up. I'll find it.
It's really cool.
I'm curious about how you get money, how you get donors, tips.
Well, people study it in school, how to do this, how to write. I find it after now a few years that I'm doing it, it's personal contact. People with a lot of money get asked from the moment they open their eyes until they go to sleep. Anybody who talks to them wants their money. Unfortunately, I have to say, including their own kids. And they know it. They know it. They have kind of barrier because they know anybody who is nice to them, anybody who talks to them, knows that they have money. And it's kind of not nice for them. I can imagine. I'm not in their shoes, but I know it's true. So when you talk to them, or when you play to them, or when you do anything with them, it needs to be unique enough, special enough, and totally you, like completely honestly you, that you don't fool them. They don't want to be fooled, and they can detect it in a second.
How do you find them?
Well, I mean, it all started by me playing concerts, and usually when you play classical music concert, you meet people with money, because classical music is based on donations, and it's people that have the wealth to support it, and then you get to know them, and from then you get to know more people, and you invite them to concerts, you keep in touch with them, and so on. But when people tell me, oh, you're so lucky that you met such and such and such, I don't like it, and it's not true, because many people meet such and such and such. But for them to give you money, they give money to what you do. And they have to really believe that what you do is so unique that they want to give money to that. So you have to convince them in the way you play, in the way you talk about it, in the passion you have about it, and in the change that you make.
Okay.
That they feel, wow, if I invest in the music house, there are now 4 people living there making a change in Baltimore. The biggest donors we have are not from Baltimore, but they really got moved by the idea of what we do. One of the donations we got, I always tell this story, I not name the name, but somebody who gave us $100,000 for the music house. And that person, you know, he comes to our concerts and so on, and when I told him about it, and then I remember we had a Zoom meeting as well, because it was during the pandemic, and he told me, Amit, if my kid would have played a string instrument and wanted to live in this music house, I would never let them go and do that, because I think you're really crazy. Give me your address, I want to send you $100,000. That's what he said.
Okay.
And he did. I got in the mail $100,000, which of course I cannot take for myself, but now we have big part of the music house because of him. And he thought I'm completely crazy. And he said, you know, I will not let my son or daughter live there, but this is amazing.
For it.
Yeah. So I'm completely honest about it. And many times they say no, or they don't even reply.
Okay.
And it's okay. I still believe in it. And it's okay. I have one couple donors that really believe in our orchestra and what we do. And I remember approaching them about the music house, and they said, sorry, we don't want to be involved in this project. Okay.
Okay.
So you get a lot of no in your life as a dreamer.
Okay.
I would call it.
Is it really fast? Is it all donors or is it some grants too?
Oh no, we have grants. You have to. So the grants are maybe 15% of our budgets,
Okay.
and some organization will tell you it's 20%. But what's important with grants, first of all, you need a grant writer. I cannot do that. You need to tailor your story to the grant, and it's a whole art form. I cannot do it, and you need somebody who is really good at it. However, I find that for donors, it's important to know that your organization is credited by grants. So for them to see that the Maryland State grant or all those big organizations give you, that shows them that there's a signature for their ideas that they're believing. So I find it to be really important to have the grants, although people would lie to you if they'll tell you that the grants are more than 20% max of their budget. The real budget is one-on-one, face-to-face, getting donors to donate to you.
Okay.
For sure.
Sweet. Are we out of time?
No, because I'm dead tired and I have to teach tomorrow.
Okay.
8 students, and the next day also 8 students. And then I have to practice because I have recital on Thursday in Washington.
Oh my goodness.
So, but I would love to talk to you more because I love when people you probably have more questions.
Well, yeah, but these are just ideas. I mean, I was just writing them all down.
Maybe one day you come and you become an intern in our organization, and then we can talk about all of this and do it together.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So we have an intern now, who is working with us. The first time we are now a team of 3.
Okay.
And the intern is a student at Peabody, but it's a part-time. He gets paid by the hour, but he's amazing and he's doing a great job. And it's something that I would like to institute, like to have an intern that work with us. And we need that help too. So anyway.
That's cool.